When it comes to planning for your future, you want someone you can trust. At Prairie State Investments, Mark Pfeiffer is here to help you build a plan that fits your life, your family, and your goals. Whether it's retirement, college savings, or investing wisely for tomorrow, Mark has the knowledge and local commitment to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future up to chance. Call Mark Pfeiffer at Prairie State Investments today at 815-668-8131 and start investing with confidence.
Welcome to NUIC All Access, joined by Jay Doyle and Joe Murdy, and I am your host, Kyle Kampmeyer. Today, we feature 3 guests from the Galena Pirates basketball team. Jay, introduce our guests to us today.
All right. Today's guests are Galena head coach Matt Wienen, along with senior all-conference players Owen Hefel and Drew Koenigs. Here's a look at what they've accomplished so far. Coach Wienen is in his 8th year guiding the Pirates. He has a career record of 144-89. He's won 20 games in a season for the 4th time in 5 seasons. The Pirates currently sit at 23-6. They are 9-1 in the NUIC West and currently are tied for first with their rival, East Dubuque. Last year, Owen was honorable mention All-Conference. Last year, Drew was second team All-Conference. We'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure.
It's early.
Coach, you guys are 23-6. You're tied for first place in the NUIC West. What's been the backbone of this team this season?
I'd say for the most part, it's been our toughness all year. Our toughness goes into the defensive end of the floor. We strive ourselves every day. We work hard on the defensive end in practice, and then we bring it to the games. With our physicality on the defensive end, we can throw multiple defenses at teams. But for the most part, it's been our man defense with these 2 next to me, Owen and Drew. And then you add Roman Romer in there and Sam Amaya. We're pretty tough on the defensive end, and we're not the tallest team. I think Drew's our tallest kid. I label him at 6'3", but he may be 6'2" if I smash his hair down a little bit. But we can throw a 2-3 zone at you that we're pretty good at. But for the most part, we want to stay with our man defense. That's been a backbone of our team all year.
And that's one thing I've said, that west side of the division, up in that corner, we had Coach Shaber on a couple weeks ago, but both of your teams play a way that people like to watch play. We like to watch you guys play because you guys get it done on the defensive side, and then that transitions to your offensive side. And I think when you feed off the defensive side, I think that has the makings of a good team, and a good team that can beat anybody come regional time or in a big conference battle like you guys have done. And you know, that goes into the next question, Owen. After that January 14th loss to East Dubuque, what shifted you guys internally?
Well, that game was a good learning point for us. It showed we needed to get better to compete with the top teams, and we need to work harder in practice just to get the job done.
Yeah. So Drew, you guys have won 10 straight games now. You guys are on a roll here right now. What do you feel like's kind of been the driving streak behind that long winning streak?
Well, I think it has to do with some of the little things we bring to practice. You know, we're not complacent. We bring a lot of energy. We like to have fun, and we always bring effort every practice. What is it? Coach says that we got to go 1-0 every day and win each quarter of every game. So it's I like to think like.
Coach, going back to that 4 overtime win that kind of started to capture the entire area once they saw you were in double overtime over East Dubuque. What did you learn about your group in that moment?
Just a team that wouldn't quit. We didn't start out the game very well, as everyone knows in the area. That's a huge rivalry for us. It has been for years since I started, even when Coach Miller was there at East Dubuque. The first quarter wasn't our best quarter. I think both teams ended up with 6-6, looked like a football score. But then East Dubuque got a little run there just before halftime, and they took a 8 or 9 point lead. And we just brought the message in at halftime: just never quit, just keep fighting. We changed some things up on offense. We tried getting Drew the ball more, which they already knew they were going to have to stop him. And then just had to get to that fourth quarter where Jeb hit a big shot right before the end of the third, and that kind of lifted us with some great energy. But who would have known that game would have went into 4 overtimes? It almost went into a 5th one. Whoever let the air out of their mouth did not let that ball go in from Dolan was a huge thing for us. But yeah, just to never quit in that game. We got down early in the first overtime, down 5, and our guys fought back hard just on the defensive end, getting stops. And then we got the ball to Drew and Sam Amaya there at the end. And then the third overtime, it all kind of crumbled there where we have a 3-point lead with 5 seconds left. And our all-conference quarterback, who's probably one of the smartest kids I know, I told him twice in the timeout, if you don't like the sideline inbounds play, just call a timeout. Well, he liked Mason on the post, just threw it a little too high. And then they hit a big 3 to send it into the fourth overtime. And then the fight at the end was just incredible. And then our fans and our student sections just storming the court. They won that game for us. Our student section did, bringing that energy. It was the craziest game I've ever been in. And then I had my old high school coach who was at the game, Syd Sincock, talked to me and said, I've never been in a 4 overtime game. And I said, well, I almost had a 5th one. But awesome atmosphere. Yeah, just the way a high school basketball game is supposed to be played with 2 teams that are fighting for a conference championship.
No, and that's one of the things. I think it was by the first overtime or something. What's great about the NUIC page, somebody got on there from one of the schools and said, hey, we're going to another overtime. So I think, like myself and many other, you try finding the game and flip in to watch it. And just crazy on both ends. You guys seen both teams resilient of not wanting to lose, and then the toughness it takes this time of year to win games and the bid games. And that goes to a question for you, Owen. What did you find out about yourself and your team with the toughness after a game like that?
Well, that game was more of a mental game than a physical game. He likes to say that game was 80% mental, 20% physical. And basically, we just never gave up and kept pushing and ended up winning it all.
When you get to like the 4th or 5th overtime, does this part of you like, man, somebody just win the damn game? Somebody just do something. Just do something. Somebody do something.
Yeah, I think for sure it was. I thought for sure at the third one, when we had the ball, just trying to get these 2 the ball, just somebody go make a free throw. We don't have to inbound the ball then. But then talking Scott at the end of the game, as you guys all know, Scott he gets a little animated. He didn't have a voice at the end of the game, and I'm trying to hear what he's saying. He's like, I'll call you tomorrow. I need my voice.
He walks by you, slaps you with the towel, and then just talk to you tomorrow.
We hugged each other. Me and Scott are really good friends. He lived 4 houses down from me being a little kid. And I used to always come in and watch him play when he played for Galena. So I've known for years, and just he didn't hit me with the towel. I don't think he could have picked up the towel at that point.
So Drew, talking about this 4 overtime game still, obviously, at some point I would think maybe fatigue would have to set in. What kind of carried you and your teammates through as far as kind of that mental aspect and not getting tired?
I think what really pushes me through and the group of seniors through is knowing that last year, and this is it really. I like to think that if you try your best, try your hardest, the rest will follow, and that's kind of how it.
Coach, since Christmas, your only other loss next to East Dubuque was to current number 1 ranked Sterling Newman. How close is this team to being at that level? Newman's obviously only got the 1 loss on the year to Mendota, who also received their number 1 seed in the 2A bracket that they're in for the regionals. What do you see in yourself compared to them?
I see a lot of similarities. When we played them, you definitely tell they were focused on the defensive end. With their 1-3-1, they made it difficult early. We made it difficult for them early. It was a close game all the way through. Didn't have Drew here for that game. He was sick that day, so we had to make some adjustments. Started Jeb as a freshman. He had some big shots in that game. We definitely had some chances to win that game. Jeb had a shot there at the end to win it before overtime, and they had a chance to tie it with a 3. Yeah, they're a really good team. They're very well coached. I don't like to really. It's kind of humbling to hear you guys say that our team is right there with them. Kind of like the other night we were playing West Carroll, gave up 27 points. We were upset because we gave up 27 points. That's the kind of standard that we have, and I'm assuming Newman has the same standard when they give up that many points. But to hear people say that we're right there with them and the number 1 could be potentially with them at one of the top teams in the area is very humbling. I don't like to think of that with these guys. I don't like to put too much in there. I like them to think that we're still the hunter instead of the hunted. And I know we're the hunted team right now because you got Dakota with only 2 losses and we're right there with them. But we still want that hunter mentality. Keep fighting every day. Once you give 16, 17-year-old kids that opportunity to think that they're great, that's when they stop working, I feel. And I don't let them know that they're great, even though they could be.
So, Owen, Drew, cover your ears. So, just to follow up on that a little bit there, Coach, obviously you guys have done a great thing getting out to a 23-6 start. When healthy, though, you have to feel like you're pretty confident in not just the bracket layout, but being one of the favorites in this bracket. I know talking to other coaches around the area, because of how you guys play your game, they're worried about having the chance to meet up with you in the early rounds before even getting to the regional championship, or in the regional championship for that matter.
Yeah, I'm for sure. I'm very confident in our guys. This is in my 8 years, this has been the funnest group I've had. They're very loose in the locker room. Like, even when we went up, we played 2 weeks ago against a very good Lancaster team up in Wisconsin. We had a tough game against Warren here at home, where Warren is a very, very tough team. And we went up there was no expectations, and we won. We beat Lancaster by 35 in that game. Lancaster only had one loss before that. So the confidence is a top notch right now for these guys. Got 5 really good seniors that have worked extremely hard for 4 years for me. To know that teams are scared of us, I guess I don't like hearing that, because like you said, I don't want these boys to know it. I don't want my team to know it. But it's to hear it is very, very humbling. Like I said, we're going to go in and we're going to have some fun in this regional. I've been to 2 regional championships prior to this. They didn't go the way as I wanted to. Lost the one my 3rd year to Fulton by 3. And then Pack's a really good team. The year before, they had a really good team. Beat us pretty good down at Pack when Connor fouled out. But we're looking for that opportunity. Whatever God's plan has for us in that opportunity. If we win it, we win it. If not, we know we're going to get beat by a good team. If we end up making it to sectionals, if we win one sectional game, that's the most wins. Our Galena team has never won a sectional game that I can remember of. And if we're fortunate enough to win one or even win a sectional championship, that would be awesome with this group, because they work really hard, just like every team does. We know Eastland and Dakota, Pep's going to be tough. Lee Wind is tough. We already played them once this year. I don't know how those guys can be considered high school kids. They're like men. They are, playing them. If we get on court for warm-ups and you're looking at us and you look at them, they're like, there is no Galena's got a chance in this game.
Coach, let's be honest. Lee Wynn looks like Galena did back when you were in high school. Come on, man.
That water's different over there. That water's different.
Up there with Tim Vincent and them. Yeah, we were really good in football. One of a couple teams here that have had the privilege to play at a state title game. That also didn't go my way, so hopefully luck will have it this time that I get one.
My boy Dino back in the day.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, both guys did.
I still try to bring him up back from, some people still remember, but you'll remember him. Old Dino Rapalopoulos.
Rigopolis.
I can never pronounce that name. I just know he kicked the shit out of everybody.
Oh yeah,
including myself.
The nightmare little linebacker he was.
I will say this before we get to the next one. Why I feel confident about teams like yourself moving into the direction, and it's going to take a good team to beat you, right? And that's what you want. Like, if you get beat, you're going to get beat by a good team. But I've always said this too: defense travels. The one thing that can travel in a regional game and regional championships is defense. And you may, teams get tight this time of year. You see it up and down, where when everything's pretty loose until you know that if you lose, you go home. But the one thing that you guys hang your hat on that some of these other teams do is on the defensive end, you get after it and you lock in and can get stops. And that's the biggest thing this time of year, because every game's going to be close. You look at your regional, like we just talked about. If seeds play to seeds, right, you'll see a Warren team who is one of the dangerous teams out there, I think. And then you also have Peck, Brand, B-Win, and Rockford Christian on the other side that you could see if you guys are successful. And all of those teams are very, very good teams, 20 type win teams, right? But the one thing your teams do, and other of the top teams, and why, like myself, Kyle, Joe, feel you can compete is you get it done on the defensive end. You worry about scoring 80. You worry about keeping teams under 30, right? Like,
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's the mentality you got to have. You got to make things hard. And when things get hard, that's where you get, the cream rises to the top. And, that's what it takes this time of year. And that goes to my next question to Owen. You guys played a Sterling Newman team. You guys have played Dakotas and those teams, but especially in the Newman game, what did that game prove to you guys that show that you can compete with these teams in March?
Yeah, that game showed us where we needed to be at, and we just needed to work on the little things. And I'm hoping we see them again in a sectional championship with Drew, and hopefully we win that.
Yeah, I mean, when you guys are fully healthy, that's definitely going to be different. Like you said, not having Drew in that lineup, and although Coach, you said he's like 6'2", maybe 6'3" if you or 6'3", 6'2" if you bash his hair down.
Gets that hair done, he'll be all ready to go.
We've seen Drew play above the rim for you. Obviously, Owen's a great sharpshooter for yourself. Your own son, Jeb's been able to hit some big shots outside as well. You got Roman in the middle, and then Sam can attack the middle of the court as well, which is great for you guys because you guys attack from different angles. But, yeah, missing Drew's got to be a huge piece in that game the first time around, and fully healthy. You guys definitely have what it takes to go deep in these playoffs, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think for sure if we have Drew that game, maybe the outcome's different, maybe it isn't. He's just a difference maker in there. He doesn't like to hear this. We try to get him the ball on every possession, and our guys know it. We have a saying in our practices. Mason Smith yells it a lot. We want Drew to be the black hole. We want to get him the possession. I played for Coach Sincock. And he told me and Nick Sproul, when we got it in the post, it never comes out unless you're triple team. You find a way to get it to the basket, you get fouled, you get two, or we're going the other way and we're playing defense. You got from inside.
Well, that's just it. Then you got Mason that can light it up from beyond the arc too, and that's got to be nice to be able to have that inside-outside game.
Well, it is for sure. We not only go to Drew, we go to Sam down there. Sam at 6'1". He's got fast moves. Different Drew has. Drew's got the power. Like that, he's thrown a couple down this year. I wish he'd do a drop step dunk on somebody, but he just scared to do it, I think. But yeah,
let's go, Drew. Come on.
Yeah, he gets a double team almost every game he does. We played Friday and they played a 2-3 zone. They had three guys guard him the whole time, and that opens up our guys outside to hit those shots like Owen and Jeb and Mason.
You got to help me out. For guys that can't dunk, why don't you just try to dunk every time? Like, I always hear that, like guys that can dunk, but it's like coming from myself even, who couldn't dunk. Like, I'd be dunking all the time. Like, I'd be nothing but dunk.
I think the main reason that I don't do it a lot is I just get really, really like tired. It's not that I'm out of breath. It's just I'm posting up and I've got to use my strength to really like keep myself down, and then I got to move it to like speed, and then it wears me down. So
you got to play less defense.
No, don't.
You got to play less defense. We had a kid named Drew that didn't play defense. We called him Rue because he had no D.
Oh my God!
Hopefully, guys don't start calling you Rue. I'd be cherry picking.
Go ahead, Coach. You were about to say something.
No, we need him to play some defense. We don't need him cherry picking. We'll get him in transition, get some dunks down and beat him too. But yeah, he's a centerpiece in there of our defense. He knows he can dunk it anytime we want him to. I had a coach, Syd Sincock, that told me, you miss a dunk, you sit the corner, so that's why we never dunk. And I've never told him.
That was back in the 80s.
He knows I told him a couple times when we're in transition. He hears me say it, send it, but he just lays it in. He looks behind coach.
I'll be honest, Joe, I'm sorry I'm going to cut you off one more time here.
No, you're right.
Drew, watching you guys warm up and watching you guys go through your defensive slide drills, you're definitely the most aggressive in that drill and always the loudest, which I really appreciate that because you take your warm-ups like you are in the game, which is really cool.
Yeah, I always get yelled at for not talking or whatnot, practice all the time. So I always try to just yell, be super loud. That way I'm not sitting on the bench.
So that's getting back to coach. That's not doing it because of anything other than coach is on your ass about something.
Yeah.
Sounds like my kid.
Uh, so Drew, you guys lost to Dakota 50-38 back at all the way back at Thanksgiving tournament, which obviously seems like a long time ago. It's been nearly 3 months now. How would you say this Galena team is different now than it was back at Thanksgiving when the season was just getting started?
I think, well, first and foremost, that our mindset has really changed. We've won. Looking back at the beginning of the season, we won a couple games where maybe or didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but we've really proven ourselves. So I think our mindset has changed. But also, I think a couple new identities have really shown in the team. I'm really proud of Sam and Mason and Roman for all stepping up, doing stuff in big games, and Deb knocking down shots, and Owen. We're all stepping up, and I'm really glad. So we've really just proven ourselves. So that's what I think is.
Yeah, you guys are really proving yourselves. There's no doubt about that. And I think we've talked a lot about that. We're only on question number 10. So Coach, Dakota earned the 1 seed as everybody pretty much expected. But you guys, even in all my projections, had been sitting in that 2 seed the entire time, and it lived up to being true.
Kyle was right.
I was right. This places you with Pectonica and Lena Winslow, and then eyeing that sectional semifinal game later down the road, which could be with who would that be with?
Newman.
It would be with Newman, yeah. Do you feel like you are the hunter still?
The mindset is the hunter. If you ask other teams in the area, we're the hunted. But you got to look at Dakota and Newman, and then Eastland for sure. We're 4th or whatever behind them. I feel like we are the hunter. The mindset is the hunter. This is something different for these boys to feel that. I think the last couple of years we've been a top seed or whatever. We've never been the 2 or the 1. So to be that is very special. But yeah, the mindset's always the hunter. We feel like we have a great opportunity to win a regional championship. Our team's going to give it to us. No, we got to go earn it. And I feel these guys are willing to do that, no matter how far we got to go or how hard we got to work for it. They got that mentality. We know it's going to be tough, and that's what we want. We play tough teams all year. The schedule proves it with the teams that we have played. Yeah, we're always the hunter for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where even with that 2 seed, you guys still enter as a regional championship favorite. And while everybody knows that right now going into this, Newman is the sectional favorite, like we said already, between you, Eastland, you can throw Pectonica at that mix, Dakota, and of course Newman. I mean, this is, and Lena Winslow, you never know what you're going to get out of them either, because like you said, they're tough. They have the capability of playing in big time moments. They always get off to late starts because of their continued football success, but they have the athletes that can do what needs to be done once we get into these late games and into the playoffs. And I'm really excited for this boys regional setup the way it is across the entire bracket going into that sectional.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, even with Peck being the 3 seed, and you got Lee Wynn down there. Lee Wynn's already beat them once this year, and we played both of them. They're both physical teams. They play a little different. Peck wants to get up into you, play extremely hard, difficult defense, just like we want to. And then Lee Wynn is just they got power. That's what they have. And just talking to these boys, and from what I remember, it was the most physical game we played all year, just because of how man and wild play down there. And they got their guard. They can get hot from 3. They're extremely tough because they got 2 guys down in the post. We had to go to our 2-3 zone way earlier in that game, way earlier than I wanted to, just because of those 2 down in the block, how they were doing their high-low set against us, and just trying to pray that they couldn't hit enough more threes than we could. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough road. Like I said, we're looking forward to it. Even Dakota's side with East Dubuque and Scales Mound over there, there's no guarantee Dakota gets out of there, because we've seen East Dubuque a bunch this year. We played them twice, and with Gavin Stewart back in the lineup, that is just a different team. So it's going to be a fun a fun regional. And, hopefully we're making it to the sectional as well. You just don't know who's going to, I'm assuming Newman's going to come out of that side, but with the Eastland one, we've seen Orion play, and Orion's really tough too. So you just never know who's going to be in that sectional.
Yeah, I think that's the, the proverbial regional championship matchup in that one would be Eastland Orion, right? I mean, that's what everybody's been talking about. And then you're right. I mean, Scales Bound is with Coach K and what he's been able to do over the recent years as well. He can get his team playing at any different minute. And, like you said with Stewart back for Shabes, he talked about it here a couple weeks ago about, if he's fully healthy, that they could definitely be right here in the conversation. And they are, of course they are. And, it's just so deep. It's so fun. It's great to see. I'm really excited for the regional semifinals when you can get some of the teams that are more lower level that won't really stand much of a chance out of the way, and then you get into those more competitive matchups. Should be very, very fun to watch as it plays out.
That's a then question to you, Owen. So if numbers play out and seeds play out on your guys' side, you could see a rematch with a Warren team and then either a Pecatonica or Lee Win team on the other side. What do you guys know from experience in those games? And what do you see that you guys have to do well to come out in those games as the victor?
Pretty much everyone knows what we can do. We know what other teams can do. We just have to show up prepared and come out on top.
And Coach, what about on your end? Because that's one of the things we joked about. Everybody's gonna have to travel to that Woodstock that everybody's talked about. You're gonna be possibly picking up Warren on the way on the way to Woodstock.
You guys sharing a bus?
But you guys
text Coach.
What's that?
Well, I'll text Coach Pafford and we'll meet up somewhere and we'll just ride the bus.
Yes. But you could see in that regional, three teams of, for surely, on the Warren side, because that's who you'll play the winner of Warren and Woodstock. But a Pecatonica Lee Win team, what do you see in, or do you take anything in the previous games that you guys have played against them?
You take everything for granted. This time of the year, you're prepared for everything, but you just don't know what those teams will bring. This will be, if it happens, this will be the fourth time we play Warren, and every time it's gotten harder, just for how hard they play. Troy does a great job with those kids, and then with the Lee Win Peck game, the Peck game was early in the season. It was at the Eastland tournament. We got down early. We just didn't play our best ball in the third, and then we got rolling there in the fourth by getting stops on the defensive end and finally making some shots there in that gym. And then the Lee Win game was earlier in the year, but still in our memories. We'll look at those films, but each team is different from each game. We're not the same team on the offensive end that we've had from the previous game. I wish we were. I wish we could bottle that Lancaster when we scored 80-some points and put that in a bottle and spread it each game. But yeah, we'll come prepared, as these guys know we will. I scout hard on teams. That's the one thing Shaber makes fun of me about is he tells me to take Sundays off. I don't take no days off on scouting teams because I'm prepared for whatever they're going to try to throw at us. And I'll make sure these two and our teams are prepared for those games. But when it comes down to them, like we talk about, it's going to be 80% mental in those games and 20% physical. We know we have the physical tools. We just got to be able to think while we're out there. And I think in those tight games, our boys have done a better job this year of relaxing. Like you saw in the 4 overtime game, that could have been a tense moment for them. And I don't think we were the team that tensed up. We relaxed. We showed great energy that game and ended up getting the win for sure.
Maybe that comes from a little bit of your demeanor. Like, you're one of the most calm coaches I see on the sidelines. You just have that Renaissance persona about you where you're just standing tall, you're just straight-eyed and eagle-eyed on what's going on in front of you, and not a lot of animosity out of you. I think that both like Shaber's opposite of that, right? Like, he gets very intense, very excited. You're more stoic, and I don't get me wrong. I like the way that Shaber coaches too, because for me, I like that kind of energy. But at the same time, your calming presence can also have a great effect on how your team performs as well in those moments.
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing was 2-3 years ago, I had the opportunity to have Jerry Pettigrew on my staff. And beginning of my career, I was an animated coach, kind of like Scott, because Scott's the first one that gave me one of my coaching jobs at the 8th grade level. And I just kind of mirrored off what he did. But just having Jerry there and Jerry saying that the boys, your calmness, they energize off of that. Knowing that you're calm, they're going to be calm. So just having him there for that year and helping me out was tremendous for me, and just kind of seeing the game a different way. The energy that I bring now is just from the calmness and everything. I can yell, as both these two know. I get on Drew a lot, especially on the defensive end, trying to hard it right now, just trying to bring that energy on the defense. But the calmness for sure in those close games for sure comes out in me. I'm just knowing that we are prepared for this moment. And then letting them know that it's going to be all right. You guys do what you got to do, because we know you're good.
So, Drew, if the top seeds would advance to the regional championship, you guys would have that rematch with Pecatonica. Can you think of anything specifically that you guys would have to improve on from that first matchup against Pecatonica?
I think we need to improve on from that first match. Definitely like our physicality. I think they got their big guy. He really just had his way with us, honestly. We need to fix that. I think we felt going into that game, it was like he's gonna get his buckets and we're just gonna have to kind of limit that, but he's gonna still make an impact. And I think we need to change that mindset. We need to really work hard to limit him, like, more than what we did last time. I think our pace needs to be better. I didn't think we played our game like that first half. We were down. We didn't really click until the fourth quarter. So if we can click all 4 quarters, that's a big factor. And then I just had energy. The last couple of years, Pecatonica has been so good. It's just like I felt like we might have been just scared of the name. So I think coming out with a win versus them was just like a big confidence builder. And so I think we'll be ready to go next time.
So speaking of that a little bit, Drew, how much does that name mindset get into your guys' head? You show up to a game and you see like Pecatonica on the front of the jersey, or you're in their home court, or you see them at like the Eastland shootout, stuff like that. Does that actually get in your mental psyche, or do you guys try to knock that out?
My mental psyche doesn't get pushed around a whole lot, I will say. I feel like some of our teammates, it does a little bit, or like maybe there's a matchup where they're guarding someone who gets 25 points a game. They're a little bit nervous about that. They don't want to be the reason like they score so many points. I guess I really worry about what we do. I really just think if we try our best. That's just my thing. That's all the time. I don't. Everything else will follow.
Yeah, that's one of the things I used to preach, especially when I coached at Forston many, many years ago. I told those kids back then, you guys lose a lot of games because before we ever show up, you already know who we're playing and you psych yourselves out. We got to get past that mantra and make them know that who we're playing is us, and we got to worry about us. So, I mean, that's great that you have that ability to knock that out, and hopefully at the same time you're influencing that among your teammates too, which sounds like you do. Coach, first conference title since 2000, or about to be in your first conference title, I should say. Hopefully this will be, you haven't won a regional title since 2001 either, but both of these things are still very much in reach. How present is that history inside your program? Do you guys talk about it at all?
These boys know we talk about it at the beginning of every year. Both those were in my senior year of high school with Coach Sincock. These boys know right now we don't talk about it. We're focused on Stockton on Monday, getting a win and enjoying our 5 seniors here. These 2 for sure, for all the hard work they've done. That's our senior night. These boys know the history. I don't want them thinking about it. I don't want pressure on them. Yeah, I do want to win a conference championship. Absolutely. It'll happen when it happens. We always talk about, me and Coach Furlong do, I'll trade a conference championship for a regional championship, because in my mind, a regional championship means more. A conference championship is over the whole season layout. Teams in your conference winning that, a huge accomplishment. That'd be a great check mark for us. But a regional is the ultimate goal here. that one, even when I was in high school, meant more than a conference championship because you knew you were moving on to something that hardly any Galena teams or any kids get to feel in this area. It means more. It means you've taken down a couple of the top teams in your area. You're moving on to something that's even more special.
Owen, question for you. Speaking for the seniors, what would ending the drought mean for you guys?
I would say like making a deep play from something that us 5 seniors would remember for like the rest of our lives and just leaving a lasting legacy in our basketball program.
And Drew, we've already talked about you guys got the 2 seed. How are you guys going to handle that expectations that come with being the 2 seed?
I think just taking care of this basketball court, we gotta stay composed in the big moments, not let our heads or anything. We can't overlook anyone. We can't give anyone too much credit. It's just a good mix of all that and just it's effort. You can't, nothing's given.
So, Coach, you just said you were part of those 2000 and 2001 teams under Coach Sincock. What similarities do you see between that era and this one?
Similarities I see with me and Coach Sidcock is, especially on the defensive end, he made it a point to get stops on every possession. The whole team's under 50. His goal was whole team's under 40. There's not too many teams when I play transitioned offense. We want to get stops on the defensive end and push, but getting stops and then Coach Sidcock always had prided on winning games at home. If you can win your game at home, it gives you an opportunity to be one of the top teams in the area. We've only lost the 1 game at home so far. That was to a very good Bellevue, Iowa team that I want to say is 5th in the state right now in Class A in Iowa. But they played a different style that we're not used to. They pressed us all game. They sped us up big time. But especially between me and Coach Sincock, me and him have talked a bunch. He's like, pick one thing out that your team can be really, really good at, and the other 3 phases of the game, offense and transition, will find their way. And we both prided ourselves on the defensive end of the floor.
So, Owen, have Coach Wienen for the last 4 years. What has been something you've appreciated the most with practice, with games, things like that of your head coach?
He just likes to have we like to have fun, and we just come to practice every day with the mindset that we're gonna get better every day, and he helps us do that by.
Don't forget my secrets out.
I like the fact how you're always straight and direct to the point, short and sweet.
Yeah.
So, Drew, how has Coach Wienen challenged you this season personally to kind of raise your standard?
Well, he challenges every day. Wake up. There's always a challenge. Yells a lot.
Kyle just said he didn't yell.
You're not. Oh, he.
Yeah, a practice Coach Wienen is different than game coach.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't make it to Galena for practice. Sorry, Drew. Go ahead.
Kyle gets to see me at the games.
Yeah. So there's that, but that motivates. And then practices have gotten super physical. There's always we got like 2 people on. There's no fouls called at practice. I don't know how other practices are being called, but it gets pretty wicked at our practices, I will say. There's a couple of people that on the ground a lot, usually. I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
He's just simulating you for the differences in referee styles that you're going to see in times where some guys are going to call fouls and some aren't. And you got to be able to adapt to that different adverse moments of when you're getting the calls compared to when you're not going to get those calls, and keep that mental mindset going forward and ignoring the fact that a call should have been called and wasn't. That way it keeps your head in the game. That's what he's doing.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, because all you guys know that this time of the year, regional times, the refs, the officials want the players to impact the game. They don't want to be the biggest impact. So they're like, you kind of see, I don't want to say that they're going to hold the whistle, but they're going to let the players prove the outcome of the game. So, and that's what we're preparing these guys for. Drew's being nice. Our practices are very physical. Like Owen doesn't want to say it either. They're physical. They're supposed to be tougher than the games if that's what we want. They only go for hour and 40 minutes, but they are going hard for that hour and 40 minutes for sure.
So, Drew, just a quick follow-up real quick before I move on to Coach's next question. Wearing that Galena chest, me and Jay and Joe all lived through the era of Galena being like at the absolute dominance of, well, really football, but you take a look at the other sports, basketball, they're always very competitive under Coach Sincock, which he coached during our era as well. And then, baseball, you guys were always very competitive in at the same time back then. And what's it mean to you right now wearing that Galena on your chest and living up to the standard in the era that has long been the Galena folklore?
I think it means a lot to me. Just like this group, we've gotten so much better. I'm proud of that. I think a lot of us, like seniors, we've been here for 4 years. With the boys, we've been overlooked by all the girls stuff, and so to kind of be in a spot where we're overlooked, it's really nice, refreshing.
Yeah, well, you guys have definitely earned that. You guys, like the coach said, that you guys are one of his favorite groups. I can see why, because on the baseball diamond, you two are standouts there. You guys were very in depth on the football team this past season, where you guys are starting to change that trend back to bringing Galena football back as well, which is awesome to see. Me and Jay say it all the time, NUIC football is better when you have Galena in the picture. And, you guys are that group that is definitely guiding and leading that change for Galena moving forward, which is excellent. Coach, your fourth 20-win season over the past 5 years. That last stretch happened during Coach Sincock's time as well, where he also was able to produce 3 regionals. What does that say to you about where you have gotten this program to stand currently?
It's huge. Honestly, I realized like during the season, I'm so locked in on just trying to win every game, getting these guys better every day. When the 20th win came just recently, my assistant coach, Mike Furlong, said he kind of knows the history and everything. He's like, we've just won our 4th in 5 years of 20 wins. And just to hear that with Galena basketball is outstanding. It means that we're on the right path. What I'm doing is working, and the kids are starting to buy into it. But the program, I think with hearing how Coach Sincock and all those teams and just kind of putting ours at this kind of with them, it's very, very humbling. I appreciate everything that Coach Sincock did for me, especially Coach Cordy too in the football field, just trying to mold me as the man I am today. But it's to win 20 games in a season is extremely tough to do, especially in this area with how good all teams are. You look at just our conference in general, that there is no down team. Like, yeah, River Ridge, you could say River Ridge is down this year, but those kids fight hard every night. Doesn't matter who you're playing, the West Carol's, the River Ridges, the Warrens, Scales Mountain, East Dubuque, Stockton, you're going to get everyone's best game because it's almost a rivalry with each team in our conference. And to come out with 20 wins in a season is outstanding for these guys. Like we talked about with the East Dubuque game, we don't want that East Dubuque game or 20 wins to be our highlight of our season. We got some goals that we want to check off, and let's make a regional championship or a sectional championship, or even making it to Macomb for a super sectional, or even the ultimate dream to play at a state game. That should be the highlight of our season. To hear 20 wins is fantastic, but with this group, goals that we definitely want to check off.
So when next year's 8th grade group will come in as freshmen, what type of culture are they walking into for Galena basketball?
They just have to have like the mindset that like come to practice, like they can't just show up, and basically know that the community's there to support them. Playing in that East Dubuque game, that was probably the greatest atmosphere I've ever played in throughout my 4 years. And it just shows that Galena basketball is on the rise.
So what did it mean to you, Owen, when you saw all of those Galena fans rush the court during that 4 overtime win?
It was exciting. Well, I didn't end up going in there, but Drew was in there, and Matt ended up yanking him out of there just so he didn't get.
Yeah. Yeah, feeling the wrist injury, and he's jumping around like a little kid. I'm like, you get out of there. I don't need somebody grabbing your wrist and injuring that thing even more. But for sure, that just for these boys, that was awesome. I can't ever thank our fans enough. It felt like Allen Fieldhouse in that gym that night. Hear anything, which was awesome for just being a brand new gym. our new high school gym will be hopefully done next year. But just being in that gym and how loud it got was just exciting for sure. Just for these two and the rest of the fans and the community, just for that atmosphere was awesome. Hopefully we bring that atmosphere to Woodstock too. That would be awesome for sure.
So, Drew, you guys getting these close games and adversity hits mid-game, what's kind of the response of this group?
I kind of think of like our last game on Ed, we played River. We didn't shoot well at all, but we really buckled down on defense. I felt like we really can just control the game in different ways. I think sometimes whether it's like our shots aren't falling or we're getting sped up or slowed down, we do make the changes. Just sometimes they're not quick enough, but I do think we make the changes. We do what we have to do to win. I mean, put it that way.
So, Coach, going back to East Dubuque, they ended your season last year in the regional semifinals. How much has that shaped what you guys have put into this year?
It has shaped it tremendous. We felt like last year we did have a team to compete with East Dubuque and maybe Pecatonica. It was going to be, either game was going to be tough. Like I said before, we knew in that moment if we lost, we were going to lose to a good team. East Dubuque was phenomenal last year, and so was Peck. But yeah, just the things we took away from that game was we had to get better on the defensive end. I felt last year's team kind of struggled on the defensive end. We gave up a lot of points. We could score points at will last year. We had some kids with Miles Schumacher and Brayton Kevin that could play in the full court. That's why we full courted a lot towards the end of the year. We weren't the tallest team last year. I think Miles, right now, he's playing football over at Loris. If he's 5'10", I'd be surprised, and even Brayden at 5'9". But these two, and especially Roman, Sam, and Mason in our younger class, they took it upon themselves to get better. They showed up every day in the summer. They hit the weight room hard. They got their work in when we weren't even in here. The great thing about these two is my phone never stops ringing with them wanting to get in the gym. They want me to come open the gym constantly, and that prides us on it being a good program and where we are this year.
So are you guys doing that same thing with Coach Hartman, getting ready for baseball season at the current moment, or is that kind of hands off at the moment?
There's baseball open gyms. I've gone to a couple. Right now, my wrist isn't feeling right. Well, swing it, and it's my left hand, so I haven't swung the bat in a little bit, but
that's your power. That's your power hand. You gotta get that taken care of, man.
Yeah, but over spring break, I'll be at it.
Oh, he'll be hitting dingers.
So, Owen, coaches always prepare, in the off season differently than players probably sometimes, right? Because they got incoming freshmen coming and everything like that. But for you as a player, season ended last year with East Dubuque. What did you personally do from the end of last basketball season to the beginning of this year to make yourself a better player?
Basically, whether it was like going to the weight room, staying after summer to shoot, just getting better, like 110% every day. Just like don't let people see me sweat. Get back to where we need to be.
And Drew, we talked about, you guys has lost to East Dubuque last year. What's maybe something you can pinpoint that's different about this year's Galena team compared to Galena's team last year?
I would say it's like our focus. Last year we only had 2 seniors. We had a small senior class. I think I don't want to say it meant less, but this year feels so much more for so many people. We have 5 seniors. We all start. It's just like this is our last year. We have that. We're all close together. I mean, we're in a small school. We take a bunch of the same classes. We spend a lot of time together outside of basketball, outside of school. Now, we get in trouble sometimes from our coach going to the park and playing basketball. Believe it or not, he doesn't want us getting hurt. So yeah. It's just we're together all the time. It's never, I know what Owen's probably thinking about.
Drew's the mind reader, baby. Coach, obviously we talked about it a little bit here. Pecatonica, possible matchup again after a 2-point overtime win at the Eastland Shootout. Lena Winslow, a potential dangerous team with a lot of power and the ability to hit the outside shot as well. What makes these teams dangerous come March Madness time?
I think it's for everyone. There's nothing to lose. An opportunity to take down the top seed in your bracket is something that they're probably all striving for. We know Peck. We play Peck almost every year. Rob's going to have them ready to go if we play them. Zion is dangerous. He's toply ranked in the state of Illinois in his class. We're going to have to defend him well. They got some guards that can shoot. They're going to pride themselves on the defensive end. And then Lena Winslow, if we play them, we're going to have to come on the defensive end. We're going to be physical. Even with Ward, it'll be a physical game. But for Lena, it's going to come down to holding Man and Wild out of the paint, and then hopefully praying that they don't hit those threes in a big game. If we're fortunate enough to play in a regional championship, we know we're going to get everyone's best game. We're going to play a good team. And we're fortunate enough to win that thing. The party will happen in Galena for sure to end that drought. Dylan's will be rocking that night for sure.
We'll have to come up for Dylan's and go hang out with the Galena crew.
Yeah,
It's a
for
fun
sure.
little hangout.
Oh yeah. You know,
and you talked about Warren too. I mean, I don't want to leave Coach Pafford and his team out. I talked to him a while back ago, and this was probably back at the Christmas tournament in Forston, and we exchanged how his team is very feisty. They might not always have the most depth, but man, like you said, he gets those boys ready to play, and
They're big.
and they play with some tenacity. Yeah, with Van Raalte and Long down low, and then you got Cole and Podner on the outside. They can make things happen, and it's great to see how he gets them to play at a much higher level.
oh yeah, they're very scrappy. They've won some games this year where they beat Lee Wynn down at the Forest tournament, where you would do the same thing as us. How do they compete with that team? But the scrappiness, how hard he gets them to fight. Bryce is a man down there, also down in the block. Drew knows this, going against him every second of the game. It's just you got to be able to fight through all that. As us, we're fortunate enough to win the 3 games before, but that fourth one is going to be a battle for sure, because the Bryce is a senior too. He's not going to want to give it up. So I'll have our guys ready. I know Troy will have his team ready. If it's the game that we're supposed to play, or we're supposed to make it that far, it's going to be a fun game for sure. But I wish it was a little closer to Galena.
That's a whole different segment, Coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Owen, you guys have played in tight games in the regular season. What confidence are you have that will go to a tournament game?
Well, we all believe in each other. We've been playing basketball, football, baseball since we were little kids. And no one on this team is selfish. On any given night, we can have a different leading scorer every game.
Told you.
Yeah, Drew, kind of a follow-up to that. And you kind of touched on the last question, but why is this Galena group, why are you guys so close? Just all being seniors and all kind of growing up together?
Yeah, it's just we always see each other play sports. It's always been it's a social aspect too. Like sports, it's not just like improve upon yourself like physically. It's also like get to see your friends. You're hanging out. You're making memories. It's all that. We all give 100%, and like I'm gonna have games where I'm not playing well. Everyone's gonna have games where they're not playing well. I think we do a good job of lifting each other up. Just playing at the team, knowing that it's all about having fun. Sports are all about having fun. If you're not having fun, you just need to not play.
Best answer, Drew. That was the best answer. Coach, hypothetical. So what if?
This is pre, so we gotta.
Yeah, and
these questions.
Shabes does not like answering hypothetical questions. I learned that. So I'm hoping you will answer a hypothetical
Kyle got
question.
yelled at for 5 minutes for asking a hypothetical. So
He said he was going to take us to church. He took us to church, all right. If this group were to win a regional title, what would the separator be?
To me, the separator for them is enjoying the moment for sure, and not making it bigger than what it is. I think previous times that we made it to a regional championship, you could definitely see the nerves in the boys' faces. You're playing in a bigger gym. You're playing against a team that could end your season. There's only one go at it. There isn't tomorrow isn't guaranteed for us. I think it's just a mental side. This team has been through a lot this year. With Drew being sick in the Newman game, and almost me thinking during that game, how are we going to keep this close against a team that's ranked 6th in the state at the time, and trusting that our boys with a kid that's going to start his first varsity game, not knowing how my son reacted, and that they all reacted great. And then we ended up playing Orion. Drew's coming back and not knowing how many minutes he's going to play. Mason breaks his nose in that game. We end up winning that game, and then playing all these tough teams throughout the year. The mental toughness, I think, will be the separator. Not saying that either Pack or whoever else is going to make it there is not going to be mentally tough. Just the drive to be able to think the game. I think in those big games, from what I've learned with Coach Pettigrew, is telling the boys to breathe is the biggest. You don't hear me time when the boys are at the free throw line. They hear me say it all the time. They still have that voice of Coach Pettigrew yelling at them to breathe at the free throw line. Just enjoying the moment at the time. Don't make it bigger than what it is. Will probably be the separator.
Well, like Drew said, have fun. Play loose, have fun.
Yo, just I'm doing that. We'll come in the locker rooms before the game, and him and Mason are our biggest guys with having fun. They keep the team loose. I felt like there was a couple of games I felt like the East Dubuque game over at East Dubuque. We were so uptight because we really wanted to win that game over there. These boys knew it was going to be their last game to play in that gym. They were so uptight, and you could definitely tell in their face it was wearing on them. We have a thing after most end games. Drew will dance in the locker room with a couple kids. We pick out one kid. We just like having fun. That's what it's about. These kids that are 15, 16, 17 years old, they're high school kids. Hopefully these two go and play a collegiate sport, but how many kids from Galena get to go do that? I was fortunate enough I got to go play football at Loris. Not too many kids get to do that. Once sports are done in high school, it's done forever. So you want them to enjoy that.
So Owen, last question for you. You guys are going to be traveling to Woodstock. When you load up your backpack with your cleats and your uniform and everything, what's one thing that we got to put in there for the team in itself that needs to travel with you guys to get the W's you guys want?
I would say our mindset, like, we know the other teams have to travel too. We just have to show up. No, records don't mean anything in postseason, and show up and play our A game.
And Drew, kind of last question for you here. When it's all said and done for Galena basketball this year, whenever it may end, what do you want this team's legacy to be? How do you guys want to be remembered?
I'd like this team to be remembered as a team that just worked their butts off. I mean, a bunch of these everyone besides Owen and Roman, they didn't get a varsity jersey their freshman year. We've all just gotten so much better. You know, no one just showed up ready to really do well at this varsity level, and we've done it ourselves. We've really had to go and prove it, had to go and put in the work. I like this quote. I remember I said it last year one time in a timeout. I don't know what game it was. Owen laughed at me. I remember when I said it. It's this quote, and you might laugh. It's the only thing you can control your effort, and I really like that. That's really the only, you can't control whether the ball goes in the hoop or whether someone makes a call or doesn't make a call. But just you go out there and you.
That is one of the best things I heard there, Drew, because I find myself as a coach saying it to my players because they'll miss a shot and it affects them. You know, they'll miss a shot and it'll affect them on the defensive side or the rebounding side. And it's like, look, man, you may not be hitting today, but what are you going to bring to the table on the other side, right? You turn the ball over, you got to get us one, right? You got to get a turnover, but you can control only what you can control. And if you guys do those things from here on out, you guys have showed that you can play with anybody at any time in any place. And that's one of the great things about your team is how you guys play. I think people root for how you guys conduct yourself is why we root for you, because I think we have a time where you guys just play that quiet, sound, hard basketball from start to finish. And for people like me, coaches like me and Kyle and Joe, we love watching that and we root for teams like that.
Yeah, thank you. It's been tough trying to get these boys to play like that, but once they bought into it in the summer early. Especially a couple of our guys, all they want to do is work on the offensive end, and it's tough playing defense. It's tough to grind it out. But yeah, to hear you guys say that is very appreciative.
So, Owen, kind of doubling off of Drew's question. I know Jay said it was your last question, but I'm going to throw another one at you
Curveball,
anyway.
throwing a curveball.
Obviously, when it actually gets all said and done here in a couple weeks, you guys will be one of the senior classes with the highest win total, or one of the highest win totals in Galena history. What does that legacy mean to you?
It just shows like the young kids, like if they work hard, they can get to where they need to be and just keep working hard and just win. That's all you got to do. Just
So
win.
how important is it to you that these current 7th, 8th graders, 6th graders come to your games and actually watch you guys play, and you are the image that they see that they want to grow up to be? Like right now, everybody, high school kids, you guys always look at, who the college athletes and who the pro athletes are that we tend to give a little bit of idolization to, right? We want to grow up to be the Michael Jordans or the LeBron James or the Steph Curry, stuff like that. But for these kids, while they see that, at the same time, to them, when they get at that court, you're that for them. What does that mean for you?
It just shows us 5 seniors working hard has a lasting impact on these young kids, and just shows they need to work hard to get where they need to be.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys taking the time out on a Sunday morning. Obviously, we've spent the last hour going through a very long and a lot of questions, but it definitely brought forward a lot of things in Galena basketball. It's kind of cool, especially with Coach being able to connect your high school era to the current era that you're coaching at Galena. I think that was a very interesting thing to see, especially as I was going through trying to put together information for the podcast, but then seeing the era similarities and you being a part of both is really cool. And then having guys like Drew and Owen be the leaders of your program, and on top of that, multiple sport leaders, because I've talked to Coach Hartman, here a couple weeks ago or so, maybe a little longer than that. But you guys are going to definitely be on the baseball diamond here in a couple of weeks, and you guys are going to be part of that group as well that is looking at building off of what you guys did last season as well, where you came up just short in regional play and contending for that conference championship there as well. And it just speaks volumes to the level that you guys have brought Galena athletics, like we've talked about already. And those are the stories that are fun to see, because when you can see a program build and you're seeing it out of the senior leaders like yourselves, that's what inspires the next generation to keep doing what you guys are doing. So thank you guys for coming on. It's been awesome to watch you guys play all season long. Like Jay said, you guys have put together a program here that is very fun to root for because of the way you guys play. You guys keep it internal. You guys play for each other. And the energy and the confidence exudes from how you guys play. And on top of that, it brings an entertainment value that you probably don't think about as a high school athlete, but as us being former athletes, 25 years removed, it's entertaining to watch the camaraderie that you guys continue to have. And, 20 years down the road, when you guys are sitting at Dillon's having a couple adult beverages later, we'll be in the same aspect talking about the same things we're talking about today. So we wish you guys the best of luck moving forward. Like we said, it's going to be a lot of fun. Drew, I think you will definitely keep this team loose and having fun, and just keep living up to that standard that you said that you do, because you guys do that. You guys definitely have the potential to go the long way, but win or lose, look back on it, because you guys have done a great job with Galena athletics in your guys' high school career.
Thank you. I'll talk for these boys. They're very quiet or whatever, but thank you, and go Pirates for sure. Hopefully these fans are ready to travel. Hopefully we'll bring them some excitement for sure. Good luck to our girls on Tuesday as well, as they're fighting against a tough East Dubuque team, and then keep their run going for sure.
Yeah, we had a couple Coach Watson moments here. Me and Jay have talking about that potential was potential, now a live matchup. That should be a fun game to watch as well.
Yeah, for sure. that's why they moved our game to Monday, so our boys can get down there and watch them for sure, root them on, and see if they can win a regional
Yeah, that'd be a
championship as
smart
well.
thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should be quiet sometimes.
I love it. I love it. Hey, well, myself, Jay, and Joe are going to be back when we return right after this. When the job matters, your equipment can't fail. That's where J&R Rentals delivers. Serving Tri-States area from East Dubuque, J&R Rentals is your local source for dependable equipment. From lifts, trailers, pumps, and job site essentials built to work as hard as you do. Homeowners, contractors, big projects or small jobs, expect the same standard every time. Pickup or delivery is available. Equipment sales, service and repairs, propane refills, reliable equipment from people who know the job. Call J&R Rentals today at 815-747-7707 and get to work. All right, well, we just got done talking about Galena basketball and a great storyline there with Coach Matt Wienen, and really taking a look at this era of his coaching career, comparing it to his playing days with Syd Sincock was very cool and interesting and intriguing to me, but also the nice parallels that they have. The one thing missing from Coach Wienen is that regional championship, and here he is entering this regional as a potential regional favorite. So with a great opportunity to grab that regional championship this year. And he even mentioned he's been in 2 regional championship games already, but has failed to win those. And, taking a look and having Drew Koenigs and Owen Hefel on as well, you could definitely tell that those guys are very driven. And with that, have built a lot of team chemistry, camaraderie between them growing up together, like a lot of our kids in our area have. But they have really been the centerpiece of driving what Galena's success has looked like over the past 4 years across all sports in Galena, which has been awesome.
Yeah, I think the one thing we'll talk about it later, you're talking about their goals and everybody's goals, and they got a conference title within reach this week that they can secure, right? And then you check that box and we go to regionals. But I think more than anything, and we'll talk about it a year later, boys and girls regionals, both, I think more than any other year, it's anybody's game to have. You just gotta be playing good basketball at the right time, little luck go your way, and make the non-critical error at the wrong time.
Yeah, and I think, guys, something that Drew touched on too about how, they start 5 seniors, all 5 seniors start, and obviously they get contributions from other players as well. But, I don't mean to sound old school, but that still means something, guys. You got your 5 seniors, all starters. Like, those kids want to leave their mark on Galena basketball.
And they've been there.
Yeah,
That's one of the big things in those moments for regionals and sectionals and for your big game here coming up to secure a conference title. They've been in that position to where you just see it with some younger players or stuff. When you are win or go home, or your back is up against the wall, things change, and that's when the players come out to play.
Yeah, and another thing too is they're closing in on 100 wins in their time at Galena, which replicates that same time period that we saw from 97 to 2002 in Galena as well. And that's very cool to see when you can start to bring back what once was and have it back established in your program again. And it's great because, like we said, Coach Wienen was a part of those teams back then, and he's coaching it now. And on the girls' side, Coach Watson was a part of those teams, and he's coaching it now. And it's just it's a lot of fun because now with Coach Knight, Coach Knight's on the football side isn't from Galena originally, right? But he had a lot of friends growing up because he grew up right across the border. And with that, he has brought a lot of these Galena guys that we would have played against in high school onto his staff. And they're just rebuilding off of what they've done from those Cordy and Sincock eras. And I don't know. To me, it's cool to see. Jay, I know me and you have talked a lot about the Galena legacy from our days and
Well,
how cool it is to see Galena have success and what it means to the NUIC.
everybody lives in the now, and right now, Lena is your football dynasty, but for longer time, Galena is Galena and the Galena dynasty that was in the
Right.
80s, 90s, and
Yep.
2000s. I mean, they ran a 30 to 35 year span that, you know,
Was amazing.
what was they were the team that came in and you just knew what was going to happen to you, right? And the names that they had, you still remember today. And I graduated 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, and you still remember those names you played against back in high school for those teams. But yeah, everything, like we've said, when Galena football is good, it's good around here, and there's just something about that team and that symbol that makes it that way. And I've said that for the last 5-10 years.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, great to see. Fun conversation. Definitely love the excitement. And, it is cool seeing and meeting different coaches and seeing the coaching differences on how they're effective to their teams. Like Jay's a yeller,
Yeah,
Shades
not know
is.
about that.
I'm kidding. But we had Scott Shaber on here a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, and he's very entertaining. Matt, obviously, very stoic, calm presence. Hannah gets bouncing up and down the court on the girl side. You take a look at like a Nicole Brinker, she just kind of sits on the chair all game long, just kind of looking stoic and poetic in her ways as well. And it's cool to see how, the differences in the styles, but the response mechanisms that the players have to that style of coaching and how they're effective.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. But the coolest thing for me is getting the Drew and Owens and those stories out of where they were as players coming in as freshmen
Yep.
to where they are now today and what it means to them for the success that they have and seeing the accomplishments that they work for, because they're all working for it. And not
Yeah.
not every kid can win a conference title, not every kid can win a regional title. And still finding the fact and that's the thing you try to stress in these days, like if you give everything you got and you come up short, it's okay. And I think we live in a world where, like, if you don't win something you feel like a failure, but it's like, we're gonna go to semifinal week for girls basketball, right? And there were teams this weekend that fell short. They didn't have the seasons that they wanted, but like if you gave everything you got in the off season and regular season and gave everything you got yesterday, there's nothing to hold your head low for, because there has to be a winner and loser at this time. And half the girls teams in Illinois aren't playing and practicing on Monday. They
Right.
get to play Tuesday, and half of those teams aren't going to be playing Thursday or Friday, right? So you have to understand the bigger picture on that, and the boys are going to be that now in 2 weeks.
Yeah. To me, this is like football playoffs. It's one of the most fun times
Yes,
of
it
the
is.
year.
Yeah.
And what's even more cool is that Illinois is the official home,
hmm
the original home of March Madness, and we're starting to get into the thick of it with girls already kicking off and boys kicking off next week. So let's take a look at what's happened here over the past week. We received another commitment, this time in track and field, as defending state champion Brady Anderson has committed to run track at Northern Iowa. So congratulations to Brady on that, to go become a D1 athlete. And, it's the second time in a year that we're going to see a track athlete go be a D1 athlete somewhere. And congratulations to Brady on that accomplishment. And we look forward to seeing what he can do on the track once again this year, competing in the 100, 200 meters, and of course the relay teams as well, as Morrison will also be looking to defend their team state championship that they won a season ago. On the wrestling side, we've had quite a few guys earn and book their way to the state championships at Champaign next week. Connor Knopp from West Carroll was a sectional championship in his weight class. We also had sectional champions from Lena Winslow Stockton and Eli Larson, Oliver McPeak, and Maya Luke. Those three are all ranked number 1 in their respected weight classes. Runner-ups were Harrison Bauer and Sam Sikora from Lena Winslow Stockton. Fourth places were Mauricio Glass and Jack Mensendijk. So even at fourth place, they qualified for the state tournament. And then Amboy's Caden Heath also qualified for the state tournament as well. I've not been able to dig up if anybody else has. Those were the ones that we were able to get information on at the current moment. And it should be a lot of fun. Lena Winslow Stockton will be in the team duels at state as well. That will be coming up in not next weekend, but the weekend after that when boys regionals are taking place. Lena Winslow Stockton Wrestling will be competing for a team state championship at some point, at least in those finals anyway, as part of the Elite Eight. But, you know, getting down to Champaign, going through all of that should be a lot of fun for these guys, and we look to see some state champions come back to the NUIC as we do on a regular basis. Moving into boys basketball, Jay, go ahead, kick us off here.
Well, we're moving into girls, but on Thursday, Friday, the bracket came out. Just like we envisioned, you were pretty dead on in your assessment for seedings. What did you guys, Joe, you first, what was your first reaction?
Well, I'll say, I was a big fan of the 1 through 16, the true seeding. Maybe not a big fan of some of the travel involved, but that's a kind of another subject. But, I thought that the teams that we had projected all season to get the 1 seeds in the respective subsectionals, Dakota and Newman got the overall 1 seeds. I don't know. I think there's only a few games in the first couple rounds, or in the first round, that those Monday games where it could be good games. But once you get in those regional semifinals, guys, there are some great possible matchups here if the top seeds hold the true form here. And you're looking at some great possible regional championship games. So it's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, I mean, let's go through. We got time. Let's go through a couple of those proverbial matchups. Alleman and Newman, provided Alleman gets by Morrison. Like you said before, Joe, those two played earlier this year. Newman went in a close matchup there. Newman obviously ranked number 1 in state, entering the playoffs now. Maybe not the number 1 rated team, but they're the number 1 ranked team going into these playoffs. And they are the favorite, the sectional favorite here as well. Anawan against Forreston would be another potential matchup that would be very intriguing. Galena Warren will be, a conference repeat. Galena's won that game twice already in conference play, and don't want to necessarily count out Marion. Marion is the regional host.
Right.
They have to go on the road for the first round. They got to go to Warren. They've only won 4 games, and albeit they do play bigger schools throughout the regular season, but they could provide some challenges to Warren. I still feel that Warren is definitely the favorite in that game. So potential Galena Warren matchup would be very cool. And then Pecatonica and Lena Winslow, provided that they take care of business as they should in this first round, that will be a very highly anticipated matchup in that regional semifinal as well in the Marion Regional. Flipping sides, Dakota and Pearl City could be a good matchup.
They played a pretty good game at Dakota last week, where they had the lead at halftime. Pearl City did, and then Dakota came back and won, I think, by 12.
Yep.
That would be played in a regional site at Pearl City if they would win, which
Pearl City would be the host.
Right.
East Dubuque Scales Mound is another potential matchup that we're definitely looking at, and huge conference play game matchup there, of which East Dubuque has won both of those matchups as well this year. West Carroll Polo first round matchup, that could go either direction. looking at it, I would say West Carroll might be the favorite there to go up against Eastland. And, we had West Carroll on here a few weeks ago, and that would be interesting to see them go up against Eastland. But Eastland definitely the heavy favorite in this Bureau Valley regional, with the exception of Orion, which Orion Fulton could be a great opportunity for a good matchup as well. But that regional, I would say Bureau Valley regional is probably the weakest of the 4 regionals, with the favorites, the heavy favorites, as far as getting to that regional championship in the 2-seed Eastland and 3-seed Orion, as those teams have been teams we've talked about all season long, being one of the favorites in this sectional as well.
Yeah, I think for me, when you look at the brackets, and it's always the 1 through 16, the matchups you always look at are the 7, 10, and the 8 and 9. I think those normally give you the best matchups. The 7, 10, that I looked at right away when it came out was your where was it at? I just had it. The screen is the West Carroll Polo.
Yeah.
I have seen both play, and for some reason I just, Polo I think is going to make it really, really tough in that game. So that was one. The Warren Marion game, like you said, a 7-10 matchup. But a Marion team that plays in a bigger conference coming down playing a smaller school. Now it'd be different, but Marion now has to travel all the way to Warren. And then if Warren wins, they got to travel all the way to Marion. The 8-9 matchups, I think the Pearl City Stockton would be a good one.
I think that'll be a good one too, Jay. Yeah.
If Pearl City can get by their regional setting, Dakota then has to do what I always say.
It's the toughest
is the toughest thing is you're playing a regional game where if Dakota does not win a regional, you can look at the season as,
a bust.
A bust with their record and what they've done, because of you've seen other number ones lose, right? But they don't have a top team in the state in their regional. They are the heavy, heavy favorite. It's like a Newman in the Allman regional. They're the number one team in the state, right? Like you don't have another team there that I look at that it's like, okay, you look at a Forreston team who's been up and down. You look at they're the 5 and Anawan team that's up and down. It's not like you're looking at an Allman regional that has an Eastland or someone like that, or a Peck that's put in it, right? You look at the Marion regional.
Huge.
That is probably the toughest regional of it all.
Yeah.
That whoever gets out of that, there is not a heavy favorite, because there really is no favorite. You could look at Galena, you could look at Peck, you could look at a Lee Win team to come out of that as a 6. That
and Warren's not a slouch guy. I mean, Warren's a good team.
I've been riding that Warren bandwagon for 2 years.
Yep.
With the work that Coach Pafford does there. So there, a Galena team doesn't have an easy out to where, they're going to play Alton Hebron team, which, I think we can agree that they're going to probably win that game. But then you got to go through a Warren team and a battle-tested Peck or Lee Win team. That's the hardest regional when it came out that I seen of the 4.
Yes,
because you have a lot of heavy hitters in there to where you look at this Newman and the Dakota, which they earn the 1, but it's like if they don't come out of their winning, you're going to be disappointed. The Eastland Orion matchup is one that you got to look at, but my first glance was the West Carroll Polo and things like that.
Yeah, Jay, I agree with you on that West Carroll Polo game, because those 2 teams played back early in the season. It was only Polo's second game. They were still in football mode. That was not the Polo team that's playing now, so that West Carroll's going to have to be ready for a whole different Polo team. And then, Jay, another kind of back to your Dakota Pearl City potential matchup at Pearl City. You look at the 2 1 seeds, Newman and Dakota. They both could have to play the host regional team in that semifinal. And Jay, it always seems to me there's always that somewhere in the state that number 1 seed loses that 6:00 Wednesday game for whatever reason to a team that's hosting, that's not quite the quality of the team they're that top seed. That's that Wednesday, that first semifinal game can always be kind of scary for that number 1 seed. And both Newman and Dakota would have to win on that other team's home court. That's just kind of interesting how that bracket worked out there. And then kind of one more, Jay, that kind of caught my eye here. That 5-12 matchup, Forreston Milledgeville. Forston clearly the better team, in my opinion. But Millersville, they're gonna play a style where they're gonna milk the clock and hold the ball if they can. Coach Engelkens will find a way to kind of keep that Millersville team in that game. I still got Forston winning that game, but don't be surprised if Millersville keeps that one a little bit closer than what people are probably expecting.
Yeah, I agree. And some of it's going to come down to the health of Forston, too. I mean, they've been battling the injury bug here and there. They look to be back to full health right now. And as long as Erdman and Polish are in there leading that charge, that is where Forston becomes very tough. And if Mickey Props is also in that offensive scheme with those two and hitting his shots, they become very dangerous. To a point where even as a 5 seed, they could be potentially contending for a regional championship.
There's no doubt. Yeah, they could possibly see Anawan, obviously, in that regional semi. That'd be a rematch of last year's Amboy regional final that Anawan beat Forston. But, Forston's got most of their guys back from that team last year. And Forston's already played Newman once this year. If they were to see them in the regional championship, that tenacious 1-3-1 that Newman runs would not be a new thing for Forston. They've already seen it once this year. So they'd be able to go back and study that film quite a bit.
Forston's had to play that 1-3-1 2 other times when they played Lena Winslow too, because Lena Winslow runs the exact same defense.
Well, I think unfortunately the anomaly of the Forston team is you could see them playing for a conference or a regional title, and you could see them getting beat by Milledgeville in the first round just because of how their season has went.
Exactly.
So it'll be this week will be big for them in the games they have to see if they're going in with the arrow up, we always say. But yeah, we got another week before all that starts, a week from tomorrow, and that should be good. And on the girls' side, in the girls' bracket, everybody played their first game on yesterday. Were there any games you guys? There was one for me that was kind of a little bit of a shocker, but other than that, I think, other than the Warren-Stockton game, I thought for Stockton to beat Warren at Warren twice in about a week, I thought that was a huge win for the Stockton program.
Right.
And, other than that, I think everything went to, a Lee Win team upsetting Pearl City at Pearl City.
How about the score of that game, guys? 29-24. I didn't see that.
I was watching that game. We got done with our regional game and I went over to Dubuque to eat. So I was watching that game and it filled me in the whole trip. It worked out pretty good, but it was like 2-4 after the first quarter. It was like 10-11 at halftime. So it was difficult to put the ball in the hoop in that game, but you felt like a 3-point lead or a 4-point lead was a 10-point lead with how that was going. And Lee Win, credit to them. They were a 10 seed that beat the 7 at Pearl City.
Right.
And like I said, big one was Stockton, the 9 seed and 8, both of them were right there. But they beat Warren twice in a matter of like a week at Warren. So big wins for them.
I think the game that stuck out to me the most, Stark County Ridgewood. Obviously, Stark County won that by like 18, 53-35. I was more intrigued with the fact that Stark County, I had Stark County projected above Ridgewood all projection longs while I was putting these out. And then Ridgewood gets the higher seed once the true seedings came out. And I felt like Stark County was the better team. And they go on the road to Ridgewood and just laid it to them. And so moving on in that one was good for them. And like you guys have already talked about, the Stockton Warren game, I felt, I've had Stockton above Warren at different times throughout as the season's gone along, but and I really felt that Warren was the favorite going into that game. So seeing Stockton come out on top was a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, the Lena Winslow Pearl City game, Coach Hootenlocker getting a big win there for his girls. that was definitely huge, and now they're going to have a huge fight against Coach Weagle and River Ridge Scales Mound because, like Jay said before, River Ridge Scales Mound's just one of those teams at this time of year you don't really want to face at the moment.
Yeah, I said beginning of the year when they got off to a little slow start, I thought the best team that you could see at this time is a River Ridge team
Yep.
because of their guard play with their 3 guards that they have is a game changer in this setting to be able to handle the basketball in critical times. And I said the other team you don't normally want to see this time because they were going to be playing their best basketball with a slow start would be the Galena Pirates, and I still feel that way until they're knocked out. I always, Coach Watson, what he's going to do there. And they were just defeated a week or so ago by East Dubuque. I think it was about 11-point game, 40-29 or 40-28, something like that at East Dubuque. But I will be very interested to see that game and the outcome of that game.
Yeah, I think going into these semifinals, I think your 4-5 matchup with Dakota and Orangeville in the Durand regional will be very fun. That's going to be a 7:30 p.m. game on Tuesday. I think that the Wethersfield Fulton game in the Fulton regional could be a very intriguing game. We've watched Wethersfield earlier this year. They can get up and down the floor pretty good. They can get sloppy at times too, which I think Fulton will have a good game plan there with Coach Menchaca there, being able to have some players that could potentially pull an upset on Wethersfield. Plus, they get the advantage of being a home game in their regional setting. East Dubuque, Galena, I agree with what Jay just said. I think Coach Watson has Galena healthy at the right time. They're starting to get hot at the right time. They have all of the experience at the right time. And I think what Coach Hannah Thiele at East Dubuque has done so far this season has been phenomenal. I think that, what they'll be able to do in that game makes that a very fun and intriguing matchup there as well.
Yeah, not knowing how that game's going to go to pick a winner. I just think that's when you look at matchups, that's probably one of the most intriguing on my end, just because the history of Galena and the upstart of East Dubuque, right?
Right.
Is this start of something for East Dubuque, right? Because that's what you always look at. East Dubuque's the hot team this year that came out of nowhere. Galena's been there, battle tested.
Right.
Their girls have been there. So for East Dubuque to make a name, we always talk about you need to make that big win we talk about in football. For you to be counted as one of the top teams in the area, you got to win a big game. You got to be the 3 seed and one of the top seeds in your regional, and you got to beat a Galena team who has been the power the last 8 years, 9 years, right? And you win that game, then you set up a big matchup that you split with River Ridge at River Ridge for a championship. But that's the most intriguing one for me, is the East Dubuque Galena matchup.
Yeah, I would have to agree too. To me, the most competitive regionals we have here are the Durand Regional and River Ridge Regional. I think the third most competitive regional will be the Fulton Regional. I think the Galva Regional is probably the weakest of the 4 regionals when you take a look at the teams in it. I think that Bureau Valley Polo matchup, I like that matchup for Coach Grobe and Polo, despite being the 6th seed. I think it's a great opportunity for Polo to get a proverbial upset win here and then get another opportunity and crack at Newman as well.
Yeah, I would agree, guys, with everything you just said. I'm like you, Jet. That East Dubuque Galena game, that really should be a fun one. And then Fulton and Wethersfield, with Fulton having that home court advantage there, I could see Fulton winning that one. And then, of course, I'll have an eye on the Dakota Orangeville game. I know Dakota's beaten Orangeville 3 times already, but it's hard to beat a team 4 times. So we'll see what happens there. And guys, I look at this whole girls Eastland sectional here. There's a lot of really good teams. I don't think there's a great once in a lifetime type team here. There's 4, 5, 6 teams I think I truly feel could win this sectional. I really do feel that way. So obviously that's going to all work itself out, but there's no clear-cut favorite in my opinion, guys, for this sectional.
No, I don't think so. I mean, just like the boys bracket, Newman is the favorite, right? And they've earned that
Yeah.
on both ends. But like you said, I think, Newman hasn't won a regional title yet, right?
Right.
Some of these teams they've faced off, and let's hypothetically speak that either East Dubuque or River Ridge Scales Mound. Let's say River Ridge Scales Mound. They get they win out in that regional, despite the fact that East Dubuque's the conference champ. River Ridge Scales Mound has beat East Dubuque, right? Let's say they get there. They played Newman last year, so they're familiar with what Newman's going to try to do. Pectonica is the defending state champ. They've lost a lot. They're young. They still have a lot to look forward to. And then taking a look at the Durand Regional, I mean, Eastland's the 1 seed. Orangeville's beat Eastland as the 5 seed, but Dakota's the 4 seed, and they beat Orangeville 3 times already this year.
And just beat Peck.
Yeah, and they just beat Peck.
Yeah.
So,
I'll say about Newman quick, guys. Announcing games for WLT Radio. I've had the Newman girls on the radio here 4 or 5 times here on the last month. Very good team, very scrappy team. They've earned that number 1 seed. I will say, for whatever this is worth, they start 1 senior, 1 junior, and 3 sophomores. So
it's very Newman-esque.
So they don't necessarily have a ton of experience. But again, they've earned that number 1 seed for a reason. But it will be interesting to say, see how those 3 sophomores do once you get into this postseason and things do tighten up a little bit with just that 1 senior on the roster.
When they played last year in the regional championship versus a River Ridge team and came out on fire. Kyle and I were at that game. It was like 18-0 or 15-0, and it was like
it was like 18-2 right out of the gate or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and River Ridge slowly creep back in. Newman got in some foul trouble, and River Ridge then Scales Mound ended up winning the regional championship. So those young players have been in that position for Newman.
Right.
I don't see if Polo. I've not seen much of Bureau Valley, so I'm just going to talk in a Polo side. If Polo can hit the outside shot and play a really good game, they can play with them. The issue is if their shot's not going.
Right.
Newman, with their constant pressure and outletting and their pace of play, can make a game that Polo could win and Polo could lose by 30. Right.
Right. Exactly.
That's how Newman is. You have to be able to, and that's why I think. Let's say the numbers go by the numbers, and a River Ridge plays a Newman.
Right.
Now, the X factor in this time of year is guard play and pressure and handling the ball. River Ridge has the check boxes for those 3 things with their 3 guards.
Right.
So they would probably play them pretty tough. But if I talk other than the regional I'm associated with, because I'm not going to talk about that one myself. If we talk the other 3, Newman is your favorite. But if you look at the other 2, would you be shocked if a Wethersfield came out? No, because they just played Peck to a 2-point game at Eastland. You're in a regional setting. You wouldn't be shocked there. You wouldn't be shocked if Peck. I would be more shocked if Fulton beat Wethersfield, just because I've seen them both play, and you just feel Wethersfield they have good guard play. On the other side, would you be shocked if a Galena won a regional at the River Ridge? I wouldn't be shocked one bit. And they're a 6 seed. So that's why I think, your 2 most wide open with that is the Durand and the River Ridge. But my thing is that Eastland's still the number 1, and they've played like it year in and year out. And, Dakota, with the wins they've had and beating and Peck, that they're not afraid of anybody either. So going to be a really, really cool week.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
I like the way it's setting up. I mean, this regional semifinal, much like we were talking about on the boys' side, there's a lot of great, interesting matchups here that is definitely going to make this bracket and then the continuation of it into sectionals a lot of fun to watch over the next 2 weeks.
Well, and guys, just one side note too on these girls regionals that we're talking about. The Fulton Regional and the Durand Regional, those championship games are Thursday night. River Ridge and Galva Regional championship games are Friday night. So it gives fans a chance to be able to catch more than one regional championship game. It's not like the boys where it's always everyone's on Friday night. These girls are separated here a little bit as far as these regional championship games. So kind of just a cool little tidbit there.
Yeah, no, that is good. So that should be a lot of fun there, and being able to see that, even if you can't make it in person, you'll be able to catch it on NFHS as well, to give you the opportunity to see these games play out. And the only thing is that the game times for both those dates are the same times.
Yep.
So you got to
Yep.
pick which one you want to watch, or do what Jay does and just kind of flip back and forth
Yep.
rapidly.
Yes. Yeah. So
But-
yeah. Other than that,
that's a wrap for the week. We got a lot of great things going on here across the conference right now, and like we said, regional plays here. It's the best part. We're gonna get some the boys side. We're gonna start seeing some conference champions come out. Obviously, the West Division still has conference play games going on, but East Dubuque and Galena currently sit in a tie for the NUIC West. Dakota has already captured the NUIC North. Eastland's already captured the NUIC South title. So, Eastland, boys and girls, both winning conference titles once again. At the same time in the South Division, Dakota boys and girls winning conference titles in the same season. And, you have an opportunity of East Dubuque doing it on the boys and girls side in that West Division, provided that they stay in their tie with Galena as they are projected to do here to close out the season. But anyway, that gives you a look at what we got laying ahead for us going into this next week. A lot of big games, a lot of fun times. Get out to those games, support your teams. As always, root for the NUIC. We'll see you next week.